myself, what got me interested in this world was, you're driving truck right now. My mom was driving truck and she was doing team driving, and one of her co-drivers had an old regular cab Chevy truck and got in it to go somewhere one day, and he turned it up and I just heard that low frequency, and I'm like, what is that? And he's told me what it was, and I saw the EQ mounted under the dash, and I was, I think, 12 or 13 at that point. And I was like, I have to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
What was that moment for you?
The thing that got me actually into car audio, actually got me wanting to partake in it, is that, my whole life I've pretty much never had anything. I mean, I never came from anybody with money, had to, work my butt off for whatever I had. And I remember that I was riding, I don't even know who it was. I was riding with a buddy, and he says, do you mind if I stop by a buddy of mine's place? I got to talk to him. Yeah, I'm just along for the ride. Whatever you got to do. And he says, yeah, because he's got a competition tomorrow. I said, what kind? He says, a stereo competition. I said, what the heck is a stereo competition? He goes, you don't know about stereo competitions? I said, don't have a clue, man. So we stopped in there, and so he's showing it to me, and then it was so funny the way that this went about, because he said, oh yeah, I got this, I got that, and then he showed me the subs, and I said, this is one of those cars that just goes boom, boom, boom down the neighborhood, the one that irritate the heck out of you. And he goes, yeah, and he says, but there's a lot more to it than that. And I said, I already know, of course. No, I don't, but I thought I knew. And I was already turned off, by those irritating kids. It's a good thing I've never done anything like that. So he says, no, he goes, you need to sit in it. And so I sat in it, and he didn't crank the bass. He just actually turned it up. Now it's the first time I've actually felt music. I've never felt it before. And when you've got that combination just right and the bass is punching you, it was a first for me. And I thought, man, that is amazing. I said, it doesn't sound like it did when you hear these guys go down the road. He goes, oh, and he railed up the bass, and then it was like, oh my goodness. And I don't know, maybe it wasn't anything like, today's standards, but it was something to me. And it was like one of those, oh my God type of things. And then I said, man, that's cool. And I said, that's pretty loud. He said, no, it's the loudest. I'm like, okay, and then he goes, no, he's serious. He goes, nobody can beat me. And I said, what? He goes, nobody can beat me. He says, I am the best out there. And I thought, that being an ass, or the best at what? Because I couldn't believe his arrogance, right? And so when we left, I was telling, my buddy I was riding with, I said, does he seem kind of cocky? Oh, he's got every right. And I said, why? He goes, because nobody can beat him. And I said, then why does he act like that? I said, when I saw that system, that was amazing. That got me interested. I said, but when he opened his mouth, that turned me away.
Right.
And I said, so why would he act that way? Because I really wanted to have something like that when I heard it, I seen it. And then when he opened his mouth, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. And this guy, nobody can, so he's the best? I said, he doesn't have the best attitude. I said, wouldn't you think that you would try to promote something like that? Oh, he don't care because, nobody can beat him. How much that stuff cost? Because now I was on a quest. I said, it'd just be really nice to build something to put him in his place. Don't know what I'm doing. So I went to whoever I could, get to build me something. And I believe back in the day that the big number was like a 50, because I'm not a spring chicken. So this is a ways back.
Audio control mic days.
Yeah, absolutely. So I said, you know what? I said, wonder what it takes. Can you do it? Oh yeah, it takes a lot of money, this and that. Well, my repo business was going pretty good. And I said, let's give this a try. And so being the genius that I was and knowing so much, I went right for the best stuff. I went for the biggest, shiniest, prettiest, biggest numbers type of thing. Went right to where you buy all the quality stuff, right to eBay. I'll never forget, I went with the audio one.
Ooh, the flame singers.
Dude, the chrome flames. I am like a trout. I am attracted to shiny stuff like you can imagine. and all that chrome, and those amps seemed like they were this big. And I didn't care. I didn't know anything. Those were the biggest things I could find. And I literally found the biggest, most powerful amplifier. And they came up and they had the pretty blue dancing little, meters. And I said, I got to get them. And so we looked to see what I could fit. And it was actually that big monster truck that we did it in. And it was, I ordered 4 15s. I think the AWTX something. They had aluminum cones. They had a flame series that I think took a little bit more power, but these were supposed to be the brutes at the time. So I ordered 4 of those. I ordered 4 of the big, I think they're 2300, the big flame series amps. I ordered a couple of them for the components, and we broke our 50s, and I knew that I had a bigger number than that guy had. And I went looking for him and never found him again, but I just wanted to just put it in his face. And then all of a sudden now I had something that people were looking at and liking and going on about. And I remember that I told myself there was 2 things in life that I'll never forget. Is one, the way that guy acted with the stereo, and another one is when I was even younger, is when street racing was a big thing, and I saw a Camaro and it had a snorkel hood on it, and I was trying to see inside, and I made sure I think it was maybe, I was probably 15 or so, and I was trying to look inside the hood, and I said, Mister, can I see the engine? He goes, no, get away from it. And I said, I'm not touching it. He goes, don't touch it, get away from it. And it just kind of struck me in a way that I thought, if I ever get to the point where I ever have anything in life, and I didn't ever expect it to happen. I just said, if I ever get to the point where I have anything in life and somebody asks, hey, can I see that? I will never treat anybody like that. I know how I felt when that guy treated me that way. And then I know how I felt when the guy with the stereo system was a big jerk about it. And so when we'd have the monster truck, we'd take it out. People want to see it. People want to see the excursion. My wife always goes, oh, here we go. It's going to be all night. Or if somebody wanted to demo, because I always waited until the very last person got to see it. And she says, you always take so much time. And that's one of those things that's just personal to me, that I'm never, ever going to forget that. I can forget everything, but I'll never forget that and the way that I felt. And so when I see those kids looking at something I've got, and that touches me in a way, it takes me right back to that time in my life. And it makes me feel that I'm actually making up, I'm following through with that. That's something that I promised myself, that I would never cut anybody short or make them feel that way in life. And so I get passionate about things when I do it. And then that's the car audio thing. I just got passionate about that. And it just kept on building and building. And we all know it's a disease. I mean, once you get bit by that bug, man, it goes through you and you never stop. I'm 54 years old, and that's still not the oldest out there, but like these kids, I mean, I'm at the point now where if I hear somebody bumping at a gas station, I'll go walk over and say, is that you in the stereo? Oh, I'm so sorry, sir, I'll turn it down. Oh, rail that shit up, I want to hear it. It's like, what?
Well, so, I mean, what started it, as a passion, you got how many championships under your belt?
I don't even count. I've been blessed, I've been fortunate. I don't even keep track, really.
Well, I think from being able to see the excursion 2013 Surf City out there on Oregon coast, and seeing it at that point, and you were the Cyclone champion of that year.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
And not fully understanding what Cyclone was and what it all comprised of. Not just being loud, but also having the sound quality to go with it, and being able to, have a very well-rounded system.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it was about.
And, trying to get people today to understand that, yeah, you can have loud bass real easy.
Yeah.
But having the overall tonality and the balance to it is the challenging part.
Yeah, and that's where the kids seem to fail on that, is they just want the boom part of it, but it is the kids pretty much what I noticed, and that's who I always try to influence, because today's kids are tomorrow's champions. Today's kids are tomorrow's tomorrow they're the ones that are going to keep it going. I'll never forget, I can never remember his name. I feel so horrible because I'm so horrible with names. But I remember when I was at it was probably the Spring Break Nationals. I don't know if that's when Doug was out there, and I was going against a kid. He was a young kid, and and everybody said, "Oh, don't worry, he's just world champion." That he's going against, base racing. I went over and I told him, I said, "Listen, Don't listen to them. I said, I'm nobody. You're practicing. This ain't for anything. Don't think about me. Don't think about my number. Think about your number and just practice. I said, just practice. I said, you know, and oh, you're going to give him some secrets. I said, every secret that I got. I said, because today's kid that's scared to do something is tomorrow's champion.
Yeah.
Not only did that kid beat me that day, that kid won the championship. And I think he's won even more since then. And if he sees this, he'll know who I'm talking about, because I'm horrible with names. I'm telling you, the names are absolutely, did they come in this one, right back out that one? But it's exactly what I said. Exactly. I said, you know what? I said, that could be tomorrow's champion. I said, that kid, I remember when I was right there, you know, and then all we do is just switch places. And that's happened, you know, and so that's why you try to influence everybody. You try to, that's why I moved. You know, people say, why'd you move out of California? I said, you know, along with the way that California's leaning and the way things are going, I moved because of car audio. I left everything that I had back there because finals was held out here. And I was missing it. I was always at the remote location.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I want to be part of the big thing. And I moved because of car audio. I mean, so some people might say that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'll tell you, it's pretty dumb, but you know, it's when you're passionate about something, and you're passionate about it. That's what I've always been.
Right. And, you know, like the biggest thing, like what you were saying, you know, everybody starts somewhere. Like I took the Suburban out to a little get together the other evening and, you know, have the guys that are just had guy came up to me. There was a younger kid that, you know, got his car and he's like, I want to do that. And I'm like, okay, what are you prepared to do? Because this requires this, this, and this. And he's like, what do you mean? Because I was talking to him about the electrical charging system and stuff like that. He's like, what do you mean? And I had the hood open. I'm like, if you look under my hood, I've got 3 alternators running this vehicle. He's like, oh. And, you know, educating the guys that are just starting and getting, you know, those guys that want to become the Gary Killian and have the, you know, the championships and stuff like that. We all started somewhere. We all started with nothing. That's right. And we've all learned and worked at it. So, I mean, the best advice I can give people, like I've been to many different places with the Suburban, with the many variations of setups. And like you said, there's always those guys that are like, mine's nothing like yours. I'm like, you got to understand, this isn't the first setup that I've ever had. This is not where we started. Everybody starts somewhere. So, and like you said, you get bit by the bug and then you're just, it's downhill from there. And then and then you've got your excursion that, you know, has been in the works for a while. My vehicle that I bought with the sole purpose to do what I did to it. So
I remember that excursion was like $33,000 or something like that. And then I'll never forget the day that I started taking a Sawzall to it. People are like, wow, that's a beautiful rig. I said, wait till you see what I'm about to destroy. You know, we just get an idea and we just start rolling with it, and you know, and it's never done. And then, you know, you get yours. I mean, yours is beautiful. And then how long is it going to be before you sit there and you go, you know, I'm going to change this. And I mean, you think you're done, because we always say, hey, I got it where I want it. I mean, yours is fresh, you know, it's so fresh. And so right now it's right where you wanted it to be. And you're content with it. You know, you may say, well, I want to do some trim panels. I want to do this and that. But pretty soon it's like, I know I can get that thing louder. You know, just a little bit more power. It's maybe if I just tweak this, and it never stops. It never stops. Like I say, 54, and it ain't stopped yet. It's
and I mean, that's the thing, is trying to explain to people what, you know, whenever you or I, because we've known each other, we know the industry and stuff. When we say we're a basshead, you and I are true bassheads. We're involved out in the shows and educating and talking to people and inspiring them. And then you have the guys that have a stereo and they drive through the neighborhoods and just irritate people there's so much more to this than
Yep.
the passion, the pride that we take, and just being able to inspire. And like, I think the best part is whenever we get like 8-9-year-old kids that just walk up and they're just like,
yeah,
they just get that that gleam in their eye of like, really?
Yep.
And then they're like, well, can I get in it?
Absolutely.
Hop on in.
Yep.
Of course we don't full tilt.
Oh, yeah, we know.
We don't full tilt them, but
no.
we just turn it up a little bit, and then you just see, like, you can see the light bulbs coming on of just like
the flashbacks.
Yeah.
You get the flashbacks. You go, God, I remember that. And then you wish, I wish there was some way that I could just down in the future see where that kid's going, and I wish that I had a way of knowing. And sometimes you do. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you meet somebody that's got a system, and then they're saying, hey, okay, can you come check out my system? I said, absolutely. What do you got? And I'll look at it, and I'll start looking. There'll be some young kid, and then they'll tell you, they'll say, hey, it looks like great. It's coming out fantastic. And they say, dude, it's because of you. I said, what do you mean because of me? He says, I remember I was watching your videos, and I didn't even have a car yet. And I said, one of these days I want to have something like that. And I mean, I'm such a sissy. I mean, I feel those tears, and I'm just trying to hold them back. And I'm like, and on one hand you can say, so what? I mean, it's just car audio. It's like, who cares? But you feel like you've made some sort of an inspiration on somebody's life that just really touches me. It used to not. It's amazing. The older you get, the more of a sap you get, the more of a sissy you get. You're sitting there finding yourself, like a sad movie. My wife goes, you crying again? No. And you get up and you go to the bathroom or something. Yeah. As you get older, those things start touching you, and when you start thinking about those kids, and especially with the direction that some kids go these days, it's unfortunate. And so,
right.
Somebody might say, why do you want to waste your money on something like that? I say, well, you know what? I've seen kids waste money or waste their lives on other things. I said, so it's not always, as bad as somebody might make it out to be. And so that's the thing. I mean, I just always feel like we need to always help inspire people. And it makes me feel good. I mean, it doesn't make me feel like I accomplished something. I mean, because it wasn't like a goal set out. It just makes you feel good when somebody says something like that, because I always remember the days when I said, just like I said, that Jack Chisholm over there banging out that 25 hertz, and nobody's ever seen that before. And I'll never forget when I said, man, I want to be like that guy one of these days. I said, if I could just get people to if you can just do something and you get crowds, and some people are just what we call attention whores, and other people, I don't need nobody's attention. I said, because human beings, every human has whatever desire, whether it's this much or this much, for like any kind of attention. Some people crave it, some people don't really care much about it, but we all, I guess that the way that I'm going about it is that when you've got so much into something, that's kind of a reward. It's like people are like, why do you do that? Or you even care about a trophy. And I thought, well, I was always trying to just become something. I was always trying to make something out of myself on this. And that's how I would choose like a show that I'm going to go to. Like when a lot of people say, I don't care about a trophy. It's like, well, I do. Why? Well, because if you knew how much money this stuff costs and the kind of effort that this takes and everything we do, and you have nothing to show for it, you are literally just lighting those bills on fire and just watching them burn, and you have nothing to show for it. You have your self-gratification. And then, that was something that I had to show for what I did. And I told you when I ordered that flamed audio, I was that trout thing that attracted to the shiny stuff.
The moth to the flame.
That's right. And it never fails, because when people come over and you go out into the shop and they see the trophies, it's like, whoa! And they don't ever go over and go, what was this for? They go, what's that one for?
Right.
And so it's just always been part of like your accomplishment. It's just kind of one of those things that it's just like when somebody, if I cook you food and it's, hey, this is pretty good. Yeah, all right. But it's when you go close your eyes, you go, oh my goodness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Well, that's that's a little reward that I've always taken in this, is the way that people react to what you've done, and they see it's kind of like your sense of accomplishment, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I take it.
Well, and I mean, like I said, I met you first time 8 years ago, Surf City.
Was I a jerk?
No, you were a great competitor. Like at that point in time, I had my little extended cab Ram with 412s in it, and you and Sydney came over and looked at it, gave me some pointers on where to improve on it, and that year I placed third in INAC with the truck after taking some of your feedback and Sydney's feedback and making adjustments with the truck, and I took third at INAC for like the first year really competing.
Yeah, pretty good.
So, getting to see the excursion and the level of detail that was done in the truck. Like I said, whenever we met up earlier to give you the demo, I was like, part of, seeing your build is part of inspired mine, because I was one of those kids watching your YouTube videos and seeing the excursion and just the craziness that it appeared, on the video screen. You're just like, how is that possible? And then seeing it in person and then developing my own abilities to build what I've built because of watching you and Steve Mead and seeing those guys that just innovate and go, I want to do something different. And that's what it's about, is like you said, it's paying it to the new generation that's going to keep this hobby sport passion alive.
Keep it going. And it's and then you're gonna have people that are gonna be saying the same thing when they see yours. I mean, because yours is beautiful. I mean, the way that it's done, it looks fantastic. It plays great. It sounds great. It looks great. And that's why I was saying that a lot of times, loud and pretty don't go together, and yours was, and that's one of the things that draws me to that. And then of course you're going to be seeing people, they're going to be saying the same thing. Hey man, I saw yours and I said I had to do that. And that's how we just keep it going. That's how we keep it from dying. I remember when I thought it was going to die out for a while, but just the fighting and the bickering and things, and then we've started coming back together, because there used to be a day, back when we would at shows, basically, it's like it wasn't so teams against each other. We would show up, we'd bring the barbecues, we'd all be together. It was one big group, a big party, and the ice chest, everybody's grabbing beers out of the ice chest together, we're all eating each other's foods. And then it started turning into like these little tribes, and it's like that one's over there and this one's over here, and then like the anger came in, and it got a little kind of carried away, and I thought, God, I sure hope this isn't going to die off, and now it's coming back up again, and I really love to see that.
Well, and I think part of it is like individuals like you and myself that we'll take the time to talk to the guys that are just starting out.
Absolutely.
And go, takes time, takes patience, takes a shit ton of money.
You think?
Because I mean, your excursion, was that like the more popular build that I saw it as, with the quad stack fourth order with the mirror backplate? I think you had 12s or 12-15s.
12-15s at hexagon.
Yeah,
double ported. See, that wasn't built to compete.
Right.
That was just built to play low, because I told you when I was watching what Jack was doing at his 25 hertz thing, I said, how do we get low? And that was Mark Fung at Stereo Solutions there in Redding, California. He goes, I can build low. Holy cow, and he did. And it was, the dual ports canceled everything out, so it didn't do so well as far as the number. It did a lot better than we expected, but if it would have been ported in a way that it would have been coming out the driver's side and would have got the load on that meter, it would have been even more incredible. But we wanted something that looked really crazy and got down low.
Right.
It just happened to go so far beyond our expectations, and then so we started competing, and that's when we got into the Cyclone thing. And man, I remember we go for the world record on it, and then it was Canada, they had it, and then we'd get it, and then Canada, and we go back and forth. We keep on getting that record, beating that record, taking that record. And then that's when I learned. I mean, we're always learning on a daily basis. I remember the first time that I set the big record, I think it was a 411 score, total score, when we hadn't even broken into the 400 yet. I didn't know, and at the time the judge didn't know. He just, knew getting into it that had to back it up. I was at a multi-point event. We did a 411, and it was just like, oh, that's an unbelievable number. And I knew that one was going to stand for a while, and then we didn't actually get to establish that record because we didn't back it up, and all I had to do was just do one more run. And that was on the way to finals. When I was going out to Spring Break Nationals in Daytona, I think that was 2011. It was a 2010 season. I think it was 2011, right at 2011. Yeah, so we all learn our lessons, but yeah, that build wasn't even meant to compete. It was just meant to just demo and just beat on. And that's why I say that now we want to gear towards the demoing. And since we plan on doing the demo thing, watch, it's probably going to do well in the lanes when, I'm just trying to work on just, showing off the product and showing off our sport and our hobby. I always say sport/hobby because a lot of people, they don't compete. And it doesn't have to be about the competition. It's just keeping the thing going. We just all love it.
The passion.
Exactly, and it is a passion. And that's why I say, like, those kids, those kids are the next ones to do it. If we didn't take the time to talk to these kids, we wouldn't have somebody interested in carrying it on. When we die off, it's going to die off with us, and we don't want that to happen. We want to be annoying neighbors for years, don't we?
Hey, well, but that's the other part is one of the things within the industry. Like whenever you talk to, I can't say a lot. I haven't, because I don't build a vehicle that chases just strictly numbers. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of knowledge that people feel is unattainable because they're afraid to give away their quote unquote secrets because they want to stay on the top, and they don't. I like a challenge. If you can beat me, cool. Then that means I just have more work to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is the thing that a lot of people don't understand is we don't like just sitting there being at the top of the podium going, okay, let's have some fun. Let's go back and forth. Okay, you got it this time. Cool. I got work to go do, and we'll come back. We'll see what happens next time. And I think that's the other part is that I've seen people take losses very, very seriously. Yeah. At the end of the day, it should just be about the passion and the fun and the camaraderie of it.
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, I got no problem shaking someone's hand if they beat me. Say, hey, good job. I mean, that's the way it should be. I mean, you shouldn't get pissed over something like that. I mean, it's supposed to be fun,
right?
And I always share. I mean, I really don't have secrets, is what I say. I mean, I've got things that I do that work for me, and I always share them. Like when I'm base racing, or when I'm doing, like when I was doing Cyclone, I will share every secret that works for me, because if you don't do that, then you, just like you said, if you're just sitting up there, I mean, that's really no fun. I believe in keeping everything. You're constantly pushing that envelope. You're constantly raising that bar, and it just keeps on going. And if I tell you everything that I know that works for me, and then if I can just come in here and I can beat you in competition, and you say, what are you doing? I mean, we got the same thing. What are you doing? And I start showing you, you go, hey, that really works. And then you start beating me. It's like, then you got to step it up. And that's evolution. I mean, you're constantly evolving, constantly. And so that's why I believe in constantly raising that bar. And that's why I tell everybody, I just, some people, don't be telling them that. I'm not going to hold it off as a secret. How do you move forward?
Right. Well, and like one of the things, like my girlfriend didn't have any clue. Her and I got together like right before I took the truck down to get it rebuilt, or to do the rebuild on it. So finals was like her first experience. And
you broke her in pretty hard.
So, and when pulling up into the lane, and she starts seeing me move the seat and open the glove box and moving a visor.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, "Is all that necessary?" I'm like,
Yeah.
These little things, and these little things, moving it from here to here can change 0.2 of a dB."
Yep.
And she's like, "Really?" And I messed up on my first 3 runs. I think I had to rerun 4 times to finally get the number that I got for Mod Unlimited. First run, I didn't move the seats up. I just ran it. The second run, it still hadn't clicked that I hadn't done any of the prep work, because you get in that zone and you're just like, I just gotta get, it's finals. You just want to get it over with. And then like the third rerun, I had left a window completely down. I was like, I'd made sure the seats were right. I made sure the visors were right, but I had left the passenger window all the way down. And I'm like, why is my number not?
You didn't have any of this going on, did you?
Oh, I was nervous because I wasn't going for the win. I was going for the number from testing that I knew the truck had in it.
Yeah.
And I kept missing it. And I'm like, I know this has it in it. And then like the final time I just had to take a minute, reset, and just go, okay. Go through and seats here, visors there, windows up.
Was your voltage still holding out after all this?
Oh yeah, those Gorillas are some great batteries. I definitely am pleased with the results of those batteries.
Did you catch that? Those what?
The Gorilla series. Matt and his crew make a good product of those limitless Gorillas. They work great. And it's those little tricks that I picked up. That was one of those tricks I picked up from you and Cindy, years ago.
Yep.
And those are the things that I pass on to other guys, and they're like, they ask that question, does it really make a difference? I was like, yeah, testing is your friend.
Oh yeah.
Find somebody with a meter and get that test and tune time in.
That's right.
Mess with that visor placement or that seat placement or the seat angle.
Open that glove box.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things that you just go, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You ever pulled your seat? Your driver's seat?
I have not, because I'm not allowed to in the class.
Oh, you're not? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to get around that one then.
So, and that's the other part is, I think that's another part that intimidates people before they come to a competition, because they're like, well, what are all the rules? Come, get with a judge, go, I've never done this before.
Yep.
Can you come classify my vehicle? And the judge coming and going, okay, this is, what amplifiers, what subs, let's look at how it's put together, let's see what modifications you have done. And some of the guys get, inadvertently thrown into bigger classes because they've never looked at a rule book. They didn't even know anything about that there's actually rules to what we do.
Yeah.
And then, they come back with an appreciation of, okay, so if I change this, then I can go back down here where, I might be more competitive, as opposed to, like my restrictions with USAC, I can't modify over 50% of my door. If I do, I get put into extreme. I'm not playing with Philip Scarborough and those guys that have
been there.
But I mean, the guys that are bolting their doors shut that have 3-inch bulletproof windshields and stuff like that.
Yeah. When I was competing with my musical demoing vehicle against Craig Butler, I kind of felt the same way. When he goes, yeah, with my mechanical failure, I said, I think I can still beat you if I get that pop, if I get the amp pop. Usually I can pop a high 60, and it's like, Jesus, an amp pop, when it's everything I got,
and that's the other thing is, like you said, we build it to play them and enjoy it and music, and the guys that build for numbers, God bless them.
Yep.
More power to them. There is no
different universe.
There's I don't even want to play on that level.
Yeah.
Because the
Apples
amount
and
of
oranges.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, we got into this discussion about, the loudest in the world and everything like that. It's application specific.
That's right.
Build specific. It's your own drive specific for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
How much drive do you have to accomplish that goal that you set out to do?
Yeah.
I've seen lots of people do stuff with what would be considered ridiculous equipment. Just like, really? Oh, all right. I don't know how you did it, but good on you.
I typically find out I have more drive than I do cash.
Well, I think, but there again, this hobby sport, it costs a lot of money. I mean,
Yes,
just not even the initial equipment, but maintaining it, going to shows, entry fees,
Yep.
and we do it for the passion. It's not, we don't have somebody going, here's a stack of money.
You ain't getting a check for it, that's for sure.
So, I mean, and they don't have they don't have that backing to go, here, go blow up a $10,000 engine. We got you.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other part is, planting that seed, helping it grow, and getting the younger guys going, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can accomplish this. What would be your best piece of advice for anybody just starting out right now?
Don't do it. No. Trust me, there's days that I feel that way. I guess the best advice that I could give is, pick a goal and pick a reasonable goal. You need to listen to everybody, listen to what they have to say, and then choose what works for you, because you're going to find out that what this guy says isn't going to work for you. What this guy says isn't going to work for you. Unfortunately, we do have people that can discourage you. I hate to have to say that, but it does happen. Don't listen to that. You know what I mean? You just take everything as positive. Like I said, pick what makes you happy, because that's the whole point, is you want to be happy. Don't try to please everybody else. Of course, when we get to the point where we're demoing, we're doing things, we of course we want everybody pleased with what we have to offer, but make a goal that's reasonable, because in this industry, it's really easy to set your sights and say, I want to do that. And then when you start realizing what it costs to do that, you can't do that. And then that'll get discouraging. So just start off with what you can afford and go in a direction that is going to be what you want to happen. And always keep in mind that it's not just going to come. It's not going to give you the result that you're looking for. Always, you're going to find out that in car audio, 2 + 2 does not equal 4. It just doesn't happen that way. And when it says this is what's going to happen, it's not going to be the way it's going to happen. Once you start gaining that experience, you start learning that, of course, you start applying. Ask questions, talk to people, look at everybody's builds, get ideas, ask the questions. I mean, most everybody out there is good people. A lot of them are good people, and a lot of them are willing to help you. But that's what I would say is get an idea what you want to do, make sure that you can attain that, and try to do everything by steps. Don't just shoot for the moon, because you're going to find out it's going to break you. It costs so much money to do this stuff. Just be outgoing, be as helpful as you can be, because that's the way that we are. We want to help people. Ask me, ask you.
Yeah.
Ask. Don't be afraid to ask, is because so many people, I can't believe the number of people that said, hey, I seen you at so-and-so, I want to come up and introduce myself so bad. It's like, why did you? I'm so nervous. But hey, Elvis, I mean,
right.
I am no different than that person. I remember when I was standing back and I was saying, I want to do just like that. I'm still that same guy. Nothing's changed. I've been very fortunate, been pretty blessed to be surrounded by the right people. I've had help from wonderful people, it's not me that got me to where I'm at today. It's not me at all. The only thing from me is that my drive to continue to keep on doing it, but it's the people that I have talked to. It's the people that have helped me. I've never won a championship. We've won the championship.
Right.
And I mean, you know that. I don't have to explain that to you, but I'm explaining it, for the course of, an interview, because anybody watching this, I mean, I'm trying to do what I can to help them out. So yeah, set your goal, be reasonable with it, and expect to just continually upgrade step by step. And that's the best way. Don't shoot for the moon, because you're not going to get it the first time out and you'll get discouraged on it. So just, we start crawling before we start walking, before we start running.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate, sitting down with us.
No, anytime.
I mean, series of unfortunate events on your behalf landed you here in Oklahoma City, but, I'm glad to, be able to reconnect with you and be able to have a conversation that's not in a competition environment, because when we're at a show and stuff gets hectic and, we've got 70 different things that we've got going on.
Only 70 on your side?
Hey,
Man, I don't know why you're just chilling back like that.
But, and that's the other part, if somebody sees us at a show, if we are interacting with somebody at the moment, just give us a little bit of time, finish up with them. Don't be rude. Don't think that we're trying to ignore you. Give us a little bit of time.
Yep.
We will make time.
Absolutely.
Even if it means that we're there a little bit later. Like I said, that show at Surf City, it was 10:30 at night. You were still handing out demos. You were trying to break the windshield in the X that night. Yeah,
that was back in the day when I was trying. Now it's just like, can I get through this demo without losing this thing? Exactly.
So, and I mean, unfortunately for me, I had to leave, so I didn't get to get a demo in it. But once the new version of it comes out, I definitely look forward to hearing it and being able to experience that thing.
I look forward to it.
I think I shall see you probably at Slamology, because we'll be out there with the Skirbin. And
oh, nice.
It sounds like you're going to be out there in at least attendance.
Yeah, I'll be in attendance. We won't have the vehicle, but of course I'll be out there, supporting our sport and hobby. And I mean, just because I'm not up and running at the moment doesn't mean that I'm, still not part of it. I mean, that's the whole thing is, it's in here. It's not just in the rig. So, yep, we'll definitely be there. And you need to come find me and let me know where you're at, and we'll go check it out. See how you're doing. Hopefully, it's not going to be one of those miserable, hot, horrible days.
I've never been to Slamology.
Oh, you haven't been there?
I have never been to Slam. So this will be
Slam,
interesting.
It's pretty awesome, but it's usually pretty hot and humid. Usually it's hard to hand out demos because, that heat on top of a little bit of power,
Equipment's like, maybe not so much.
Exactly. And of course I was always concentrating on I got to conserve. I want to give you a demo. I want you to be satisfied with it, but yet I still got to conserve enough. If I lose my glass, then I'm not going to be able to meet her and blah, blah, blah type of thing. But, the whole thing is the interaction out there. It's amazing. It's a humongous show. It's a wonderful time. Just the heat is the only downfall that I've seen out there. But it's an amazing show, without a doubt.
Like I said, definitely find you when we're out there, and
absolutely.
We'll have some fun out there while we're playing, and maybe I'll get some more changes done to the truck, and maybe it'll be a little bit louder by that point.
I don't know if it needs to be any louder. Yeah, it cleared my ears out really when I was out there. So it's been a while, and I almost forgot what it's like to sit in loud vehicles like that. And I got reminded real fast. I thought, instead of going, oh, just don't tap out on it. Just we're videoing this. Oh, I had a camera malfunction.